This is a 1985 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I've owned this car approximately 2 years. I bought it from a friend of mine who started the restoration process, but took a change of direction on working on these cars. And I was able to secure it from him in Palm Beach Gardens. This car is the sixth car that I've worked on and restored. If you look at my YouTube site, you'll see the other 5 cars, 4 or 5 cars. Maybe there's one I sold. I don't even know if I listed it. I sold it. So this car took 2 years. Pretty much sat in my driveway for probably 6 months, and then we took the body off the car, stripped it of all the chrome and stainless, took out the complete interior, door panels, carpet, everything was removed from the car, bumpers, fuel tank hoses. Good shot from the rear. We removed everything, took the doors off, took the windshield out, took the rear glass out, took all the glass out of the windows, motors out of the windows, left with bare metal, cut out any rust. We had some rust on the driver's side, but we replaced that with the VJ's patch panel, so it was completely cut out and welded back in. Then the entire car was sandblasted in and out, off the frame, underneath, on top, inside. Even the dash had been removed. So everything was sandblasted, primed with an epoxy primer by Sherwin-Williams. That primer alone costs $600 for a can. Very good primer. We primed everything, and then took it to the body shop, and he went ahead and finished, filled any areas, welded most everything that had a problem, was cut out and welded. He put new rear quarter panels on both sides on the back. These are the VJ's off-road quarter panel, patch panels. So old ones were cut out, the new ones were put in. So the body was then painted. The front cap obviously had been removed, so it was painted separately from the car, or painted at the same time, just not bolted to the car. So the fenders, the hood, the wheel wells, anything that could come off, front radiator mount, all of that was painted in and out off the car so you could get to everything. Then the underside of the wheel wells was painted with rafter bed liner material, for protection. The underside of the car was painted with, same thing, rafter bed liner, but the rafter bed liner you can tint, so it was tinted the same color as the car, so underneath it's blue. And then on the inside of the car, on the floor, it was same product was applied, tinted rafter bed liner on the rear floor, front floor, firewall area, and then alright, let's do a quick drive around. I'm not the best videographer, as you can tell, but the car is really quiet. You really can't hear anything. Leaf springs, new shocks. It rides like a car. It doesn't ride like an SUV. Steering is really tight. because we have the new steering box on there and the new BJ steering, I don't know what they call it, arm. It's not really an arm. It goes from the steering wheel to the box. It's metal, all solid with U-joint type joints instead of the rag cut up pieces of rubber that Jeep used. So there. The steering is really tight. There's no play in the wheel. I mean, you drive a lot of these older cars, they got a lot of play. Tight steering. Of course, as I said on my other video, new tie rod ends, new steering stabilizer. You know, the whole front end was rebuilt, bearings, that type of thing. And they were just kind of driving around my little neighborhood. It's a quiet car. New mirror, you know, the visors were recovered. You know, I challenge you to find a nicer car. You can find a car that's maybe been in a garage for 40 years and only has 26,000 miles. But think about that car. Yeah, it's been sitting in the garage, and let's assume it was air conditioned and heated. You still have the rubber that's going to all decay. Your seals have not been used, so they're kind of warped or whatever you want to call it. Your rear main seal, your front seal, your axle seals, your transfer case seals, all those haven't been used, and they've been sitting for 10 years, and they become formed up in one condition, and then, you know, so you're going to have significant leaks. All these cars leak, but you're going to have significant leaks. And then your air conditioning, think about a 40-year-old air conditioning. People say, oh, it just needs a charge of Freon. Well, good luck. Good luck on that. It doesn't need a charge of Freon. It needs a whole new air conditioning system. So anyway, an old low mileage car that's just been sitting in the garage is, you know, unless you're handy and you've got a mechanic on call, you're going to have problems. Think about your water pump's just been sitting there. And if it doesn't have fuel injection, think about the carburetor. So, and your radiator probably is all crapped out. So, I don't know. Most of these components here are new, and anyway, I'll compare it to any car on the market. You know, you find me one that's better. The only one that may be better is the Wagoneer one, where he's done the same thing that I have done. New interior, Jasper motor, you know, new axle seals, that type of thing. But he gets a lot more money for them. So I'm a hobbyist, retired. I enjoy working on these cars. It's been fun. My son talked me into it, and like I said, this is number 6, and probably going to do one more after this. It takes me about 2 years to do it, but it's a lot of fun. Challenge. Give you a close up of that steering wheel there. All right, well, look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. This car originally was a, I guess, Baltic blue, navy blue. But since we sandblasted the whole thing, any remnant of the blue, navy blue paint was gone. You can look inside the doors, you can look anywhere. You will not see the original paint. So since we had it completely stripped, I went ahead and went with the Spinnaker blue, which is a 91 OEM Jeep color used in 1991, and I just like it as a nice color. You don't see many of them this color. I did keep the original color for the honey interior, Of course, we upgraded it. All new carpet was applied to the side door panels, to the rear of the seats. All new carpet inside. This is the ACC custom carpet. So you can see the carpet. It's got the ACC custom carpet mats. We did a new headliner all the way around. The steering wheel was sent to a place in Texas that recovers them, so we don't have just the Bubba wrapped around the old steering wheel. We actually have a new steering wheel cover that was hand stitched on. The dashboard pad was recovered, and then the upholstery shop used a French seam on the edge there, which gives it a nice touch. Anyway, that's all been recovered. Let's talk about the air conditioning. Air conditioning underneath this area here, of course, is your evaporator, expansion valve, and your hoses come together to, pump Freon into that area. Then the fan blows across it, and you get cool air. The evaporator, the condenser, the hoses, the compressor, the dryer, expansion valve, all of that was replaced. So it's all brand new. Air conditioner works great, cools great, not leaking. Only way to go, really. So it's all been totally redone. So it's a nice air conditioner. The radio is made by Retro Sound. It's a retro AM, FM, Bluetooth radio. It has an additional amplifier mounted right behind the radio. And then we used tile speakers. The speaker covers were painted, and then the speakers were put in. The armrest, most of these Jeep armrests go further down because they bend down because the steel in here bends. But the steel was straightened out and welded a couple of strips on the bottom of it, so it will not bend anymore. Has all new rubber by BJ's Off-Road. Window trim, rubber on the window insert here. New windshield gasket, rear window gaskets, all new. Tailgate rubber, all new. Tailgate inserts were new. A new lifter bar was applied to the bottom of the glass, and new rubber was put in the channels all the way around here. Right there. The only thing with these tailgates is the rear window defroster doesn't work. They corrode out. They don't make a window with a new grid on it. This can't be fixed. That's the only thing on the tailgate that does not function. But the motor works great, goes up and down. We used a VJ's kit to hold the lifter bar on the motor. Motor was taken out. The bracket was sandblasted and put back together. All the small parts on this car, if they could be removed, we removed them and sandblasted them and then painted them. It just looks better, and all the stainless trim. This is all stainless. The only real chrome on the car are these roof rack brackets. Those are actually chrome. Everything else is stainless. So obviously this was pulled off before it was painted. We polished all of them, got all the scratches out of them, or most of them, and then put it back together. Same thing on the windshield. There's your stainless windshield wiper arms were pulled off, sandblasted. There's your wheels. The wheels were sent to a wheel shop, machined and powder coated. The hubcaps, I don't know why they call them hubcaps, but the hubcaps were polished and painted. We have the Hankook white wall tires that are brand new. Hankooks. And here's that. The bumpers, the original Jeep bumper was a anodized aluminum. It was an anodized aluminum bumper, but actually it gives you a very dull finish over time. So those bumpers were stripped, buffed, and now you're looking at a buffed aluminum bumper. You do have to put some metal polish on it every 6 months or so and just kind of keep it looking good. But that's what we did with the bumpers. Okay, here's the engine. The engine is a Jasper Industries motor. They're located in Indiana, a nationwide company. You can Google them. They sell a lot of refurbished company engines. It's harder and harder to find a small machine shop that will redo motors. Most of them go out of business. A couple in my town just went out of business, and they're not very reliable. If there's a problem, well, it's not my problem. Jasper does offer a 3-year warranty and a 100,000-mile warranty. This engine, because it's about a year old, because it's been sitting on the frame and sitting in the car while we redid it, really only has about 2 years left on the monthly warranty, but it still has a 100,000-mile warranty, and with the new motor, I'd probably have less than 100 miles on it. So on the motor, totally redone. It comes back from Jasper. The intake manifold was sandblasted and painted. Valve covers were sandblasted and painted. There's your new AC compressor, new battery, new power steering pump. You have a water pump that's aluminum. New master cylinder, new power brake booster. These little wheels here, they were pulled off and sandblasted. It has a new harmonic balancer down below. Can't really show it to you, but it's there. All of the, of course, all of this was removed and painted, sandblasted. The heater box was sandblasted. The heater was taken apart and cleaned out. Most all of these fill up with leaves and stuff, and cleaned out, flushed, new hoses, and the hood was lined with a marine soundproofing product sold by a company called Sound Down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a nice looking product. The sound, it cuts down the sound a little bit. You're not going to cut down all sound unless you totally seal it all the way around. Anytime there's a little gap or something, you're going to get sound. But it does a great job. And primarily these things are designed to prevent heat from the engine from cooking the hood and ruining your paint. That's really the primary purpose of these pads. Anyway, here's your hood release, all sandblasted and powder coated. And let's talk about the Holley Sniper. This car has the Holley 2300 Sniper fuel injection that mounts right onto the manifold. It's a 2-barrel, replacing the carbureted 2-barrel. It's got a computer built into the base, all electronic. It's triggered with a O2 sensor that's put into the exhaust pipe. And there's only about 4 wires to hook up to get it going. It's a very simple install if you're thinking about putting fuel injection on your car. And that's the easy part. It then comes, you can add on the Holley Hyperspark distributor, the Holley ignition box, and the Holley coil. These are all Hyperspark. They all integrate, they all plug and play with one another and communicate with one another. So those three all communicate. They basically self-tune themselves. Once you get them set up, you obviously got to put your distributor in and get your timing right. But they give you a little gauge to do that. But once you get that done, it kind of figures out what it's doing. The other real change you really got to do is this tank here, made by Rob MC, is a fuel surge tank, which for the fuel injection you need about 50 psi going into the throttle body. But you also need a return line back to the tank, which the Jeep did come with an incoming line and an outgoing line. But the outgoing line is too small to funnel all that fuel back to the tank. So if you're going to put fuel injection on your car, you have to either use this tank or replace that fuel line all the way back to the tank, and then modify your tank and put a bigger intake on it. It's a lot of work, and it's tricky because the tanks are made out of plastic, and anyway, it's just, I don't like fooling with it. So although the tank does have a new sending unit, and it's obviously cleaned out and removed, and everything was cleaned around it, but I didn't want to remove the fuel line and put a bigger one. So Rob MC takes that little fuel line, takes the fuel from the outgoing fuel, and feeds it back in. It reduces the pressure on it somehow and feeds it back into the small line back to the tank. So you don't have to replace that line. The fuel line, I use this aluminum, this is stainless steel fuel lines, rubber, and then covered with a fabric material so they don't conduct electricity. And that main line goes all the way back to the fuel pump on the side rail below the driver's seat. And then, of course, I replace the rubber fuel line to the tank from there. So all those have what they call an A6 fitting, very easy to connect and disconnect. And that feeds the fuel injection. This tank holds, I don't know, approximately 2 quarts of gasoline, and fires right up. And the advantage to fuel injection is you can let this car sit for 3 months, and it'll start right up. If you got a carbureted car, it will not start, and you'll run your battery dead trying to crank the thing. So this thing, fuel injection, way to go, runs real smooth. You really don't get a change in performance or gas mileage, maybe a little bit, but it runs real smooth and it starts, because most cars like this are going to sit in your garage for a couple of weeks at a time, or in a storage unit or something like that. You're not driving it every day, so it does help to have the fuel injection and not replacing your battery and all that. Anyway, great product. You can look on Holley's website, read about the 2300. They make a 4-barrel model. Edelbrock makes one. So I use the Edelbrock air filter. The stock air filter will fit on there, but you need to put some adapter rings on top of the throttle body to match the air filter. If you want that air filter, I'll be glad to throw it in. I have one. But they're cumbersome and clunky, and the rings that hold them on there are plastic, and it's just not the best. The ignition wires are the MSD 8.5 millimeter ignition wires. Holley owns MSD, so it's all Holley stuff here. The great thing about Holley is they great customer service. You can call them on the phone Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. People to answer phone or know what they're talking about. They're very helpful. So you really only need to call them when you're doing the initial setup. So when you do the initial setup, it has a little LED box that turn it on in a minute, but there's your little Holley sniper box, and it's got all kind of plug and play controls. You can raise the idle, lower the idle, change the O2 levels, change the timing. You do all kind of stuff in that little box, and then if need be, you can save the information to a little memory card, put that on your computer and upload it to Holley if they need to look at it. The mileage on this car is 79,256. It does match up on Carfax, the odometer. Carfax shows a similar, a little bit lower, 78,000 something other, but I have put a few miles on it. Carfax does show some sort of accident 20 years ago, but I don't know where it was or what happened. We've totally disassembled this car, and I've got pictures of it disassembled. You can look at it. Must have been something minor, but it is what it is. But I've got good pictures of this whole car disassembled, the frame, pictures of it when it was sandblasted, pictures of it after it was painted, before it was all put back together. So everything on here is solid, and there's not globs of Bondo or anything like that. I mean, my body shop guy was a good welder. If there was any rust or anything, he welded it. He would not just slap some Bondo on it and move on. The roof rack, the chrome corners I talked to you about, those were replated. Those cost about $75 each to replate. And then let's talk about the grill here. This is a grill from an 86 to 91 Jeep. I like that grill better than the plastic. This is aluminum grill, aluminum surround. This is plastic. All of them on the inserts are plastic, but this is an aluminum surround. The 85 grill is plastic, and I've got a couple of them in my garage here. They're crappy. They're cheap. I don't like the look of them. I like the look of this better. If you like the look of the 85, I'm glad to give you the 85 grill, and you can swap it on. But it's a cheap grill versus the aluminum one. The aluminum one, you can really do the same thing you do to the bumpers. Pull it apart, sand it, buff it out, and make it look really good. So all the light lenses, these lenses, side lenses, they were all replaced. They're all BJ's off-road lenses. The chrome housings were replaced. I did use the 86 and up decals that go on the side, the 4x4, and the Grand Wagoneer script, the V8 script. Here's the 4x4 again. I just like that better than what came on the 85. Just don't like the look of the 85. I think this makes it look a lot sharper. The wheels, of course, are the 86 and up style wheels. I do have the older style, wider ones that were painted gold, and they just didn't ever seem to match anything in my opinion, but I think this looks 10 times sharper. So let's go ahead and we'll do a cold start here. And then you can see on the Holley gives you your water temperature, your timing angle, your RPM, your battery voltage, and a couple other things, and then you can move around and change it and do whatever you want. And if anything is out of whack, such as if your battery alternator is not working correctly, it would be red instead of the white. So right now, the alternator is putting out about 14 volts. And your ignition timing, your RPM. There's your temperature up there, 108, 109, it's going up. And then so you can mount that wherever you want it. Now this car is really not the best place to mount anything, but you know, you can put it in the glove compartment if you want. You really don't need to look at it all the time. There's your oil pressure, I don't know, high 30s maybe. Air conditioner. It does have the original clock. Windows all work. The reason these windows work so well is if you look on BJ's off-road website, they make a window motor relay that you mount inside the door and kind of rewire very easily the original relay to route more straight voltage to the motor. It's a great little product. They're about $70 a piece, I think, and so I did all 4 doors, and it really makes a difference. It just gives you that little extra bump, 1 or 2 volts, so that they really go up down. The problem with these cars, the switches kind of get corroded, the wire's not the best, and the connections aren't the best, even though we've cleaned all those and replaced any wires we got our hands on. But those little relays work outstanding. So those are all on all these doors. The window mirror switch does work. It's about impossible to find a good mirror switch. They don't make them. Some people say they can fix them. I bought 2 of them. They don't work. But anyway, I'm lucky to have this one. It does work. I put the tailgate down for you. The tailgate goes down. So here's all these chrome, not chrome, aluminum, stainless steel strips were removed and polished. The sides were originally made out of cardboard, really, so had them remade out of plywood that are covered with the ACC custom carpet. And then here's your floor. It was covered with the Raptor bed liner as previously mentioned, and then we applied a Dynamat type material to the ceiling, to the floor, to the sides, inside the doors. Then we covered that with a Noeco closed cell foam on top of that, which really knocks down the heat as well as the sound. So that's, and then on the driver's side and the passenger side front, I used a heavier foam with a butyl rubber insert. Looks like a sandwich, 2 pieces of foam with a piece of hard butyl rubber between the 2 of them. And that's what's on the front floor. So that really knocks down the sound. That's what they use to knock down the sound of diesel engines on boats. So great product. And then the carpet, of course, is applied to the top of that. And of course this panel back here, all new plywood, it's covered with the ACC carpet and then the aluminum strip. It runs real smooth, drives great. I'll show you. I did a second video with the shot from underneath the car that shows you the new exhaust, new steering components, new leaf springs, rebuilt transmission, rebuilt transfer unit, rebuilt drive shafts, of course new brakes, new axle bearings on all four wheels, new rotors, pads, hoses, that's it. I think this is the nicest car I've done so far. You can compare this car to Wagoneer or Country Gentleman, who both have significantly higher prices. Wagoneer does use the Jasper motor as well. I did use the Wagoneer exterior trim here, and this is the BJ's vinyl on the inside. Yeah, Wagoneer sells great cars, but they're selling for 120 and up. So, more power to the guy. But he does not give a warranty. Nobody gives a warranty. I'm not giving a warranty. This is a 38-year-old car. But I've replaced most every component that I could. So I think this car's going to run and last pretty long, with the new motor and the new components, water pumps, that type of thing. So, and it's got all the rubber, carpet, so it's a great car. I used to live in West Palm Beach, and we relocated to the Jacksonville area. You're more than welcome to come look at this car and take a test ride. I'd love for you to see it, compare it to whatever else you've been looking at. All right, look forward to hearing from you. So here's the underside of the car. Here's the new steering box. Let me turn that light down. Steering box, radiator, tie rod ends, cover of the front axle. There's the back. Shocks. New exhaust. There's your O2 sensor. Same thing. New bushings for the sway bar, tie rods, so forth. There's all that. There's your oil pressure. The reason that one oil pressure sender isn't hooked up, it just lights up the idiot light on your dash. And I'm not sure it even works on here, but anyway, the sending unit for the actual gauge works. And then here's your transmission was all, taken out, sandblasted, rebuilt, new pan. Here's the rear. New transmission mounts in the rear, bolts, etc. New Carter fuel pump, new fuel hose. Goes into the stainless steel hose that runs along the frame up to the front. And then we come on back to the transfer case, which also was taken out, sandblasted, rebuilt, new chain, etc. New muffler. And we'll turn around. Here's the new tailpipe. There's your inside of your frame. There's your floor with the Raptor bed liner showing there. You can see it back here. Frame. New universal joints, new seals. There's a new seal on the rear of the transfer case. The front drive shaft was taken to a drive shaft shop and totally refurbished. However they do it. This knuckle can be kind of tricky. They redid that. There's your floor again. You can see the floor. There's no rust underneath here, obviously. These black lines going into the brakes are new. Emergency brake lines. New. And there's your new tailpipe. There's the floor and the rear. All sandblasted and coated. And that's pretty much it for the underside of the car. So you can see down the sides there. Down the sides. There's the front while the car's elevated on the rack. On the side, you can see, I don't know if you can see in there, but the underside's all coated, Raptor bed liner, a little dirt. Same thing back here. All painted underside. There's your Prothane body mounts. There's, I think, 8 of them on here, 4 per side. And there's the rear. More of the rear. You go down this side. All the windows were professionally tinted with a moderate tint, relatively light tint for Florida. If you don't like them, just get a razor blade and take them off. But they were professionally done. And here's a picture of the frame going down this side. You know, there's your another Prothane mount and the Raptor bed liner. Underside of this car is definitely not going anywhere. It's very well protected. It's a great